Hi everyone, it's getting really warm here today. We're finally hitting summer here in Melbourne. It seems to have hit us like a brick wall, but there you go. I might have to turn the air conditioner on again. We had it on yesterday, got it on down the other end of the house, but anyway. It was pretty warm when I went out the other day. I went to Steavenson Falls, which is a waterfall near Marysville. There was so much water coming out of it. But I thought I might do, I think I told you last week that I was going to try and do something a little bit different this week. So I'm going to show you where I was taking photos, show you some of the photos that I took, and then afterwards we'll have a look through those photos, and then after that we'll process at least one photo. I'm not sure. I did do some long exposures. It was a bit hard, but I can tell you about that later. So let's take a look at where I went. I hope you enjoyed that video of where I've been or where I went to take photos. So now we're just going to have a quick look at the photos that I've taken. If I can get Photoshop or something to cooperate. This is my second attempt at doing this. The first time Camtasia just wrecked it. So you can see here that there was a lot of water. I've never seen so much water there before. And I mean, it's hardly surprising with all the rain that we've been having. And I also tried doing some long exposures. The long exposures are a bit iffy because the bridge where you stand to take them, to put your tripod on, has got all these holes in it. So it's really, really difficult to set a tripod up. And so I sort of had it hanging over the railing. It wasn't ideal, and I sort of had to hold it. I mean, I wasn't doing, I mean, even if we have a look at these, how long? You know, it's like one, I don't even know how to tell this anymore, which is which. ISO was like 1.3 seconds. So, you know, they weren't necessarily very long exposures. So that's one I've already had an attempt at and what I did for you guys before, so I'll have to do another one to show you what I did. So it's quite interesting. I mean, it wasn't great. You know, it was not a great day for any kind of photos. As you can see, you've got the sun everywhere. I hate taking photos with the sun like that. Unfortunately, you can't get in there until 10 o'clock in the morning, which is just ridiculous. So we got there at 10 and we had full sun. I don't understand why they don't open it about 8 o'clock in the morning. It's not like there's somebody that has to be at the gate to, you know, make sure we're, you know, got the right credentials or something like that. It's a bit ridiculous. So, like back here, I was down on a bridge and then I came up like beside the waterfall, but there was so much mist you couldn't do any long exposures. And one of my favorite spots to take photos, which is on the other side, sort of, which was kind of over here, was closed off. You couldn't get down there. I don't know why. So, you know, all of this is water on the lens, which is disappointing, but it's just how it is. So, you know, had to be inventive and try different ways of taking photos. So I was trying to get the water as it hit, or as sort of like the water falling hit the bottom. Would have been good to do those as sort of long exposures as well. I like the way the sun, like this is just the sun, and this is all sort of dark. It's quite interesting. It was just massive. There was just so much water there. It was incredible. I loved it. I mean, I didn't like the conditions. Okay, we could have got some amazing photos if we could have got there earlier. Unfortunately, we couldn't. So we went back to the bridge because, like, where we were before, we were sort of just up behind these trees here. There's a, like right near this thing here, there is a viewing platform. But I don't know what I was really trying to do. Just seeing what I could get. Some of them are not in focus, so I haven't edited these photos at all. This is pretty much straight out of the camera. Some of them are not too good. And then we went away. We went to a different part where this, because there was sort of water coming down from the top everywhere. And this is one of those places. So it sort of came down and then it went under the path and then came out. And then the river or the creek or whatever it was over sort of this way. not even giving them time to, and like it was really, really hard to get next to it. Like there was so many trees everywhere. It's a bit disappointing, really. And this is the path, because we were walking along beside it, although there were lots of trees between us and it. So then here you can see, because this area was devastated by fires in, 12 years ago. So you can see here like some of the dead trees that were burned that are still there. I'm standing on a viewing platform here. We're supposed to be able to look down into the valley and see the river, but you can't see anything because all the trees have grown. Like they built this viewing platform, I think, just after the fires, and never thought that, oh, maybe the trees will grow back and people won't be able to see anything. It's such a total waste of money. Anyway, that's back to the beginning. So let's have a look and see if we can do one of these. We'll pick this one, which is, I think should be all right. If we zoom in, some of these aren't quite in focus. Yeah, it's not exact, but it'll be okay for this. So it's a raw file, so it's going to open in Camera Raw to start off with, eventually. Okay, so one of the first things we want to do is, you can see all these areas here are blown out. So we're going to see if we bring our highlights down. You can see if I just send them back and I go down, how you start to get more detail in them, like how they were shot. There was just no detail there at all. But by taking that down, it's one of the advantages of shooting in RAW. If you shoot with JPEG, often you can't do that, and you get the same sort of thing up here. Okay, but the biggest problem here is you've got sun up here and this is all in shade. So we're going to see if we bring up the shadows. What do we get? Not a lot. Brings up some, but it's not doing a lot to the water underneath. So I might just leave that. The problem is if I bring up the whites, it's going to blow out those bits at the top again, and the blacks are just going to make those shadows even darker. So I think unusually I think I might just leave those where they are. I might just add a wee bit of texture, and I don't really like how green everything is, so we might just bring the vibrance down and just take a bit off that green so it doesn't stand out so much. And I'm not going to do anything else in Camera Raw here, so we're just going to open this image. Get there eventually. Okay, so my main concern is really this area here. I'm not really sure I care about how cloudy this area is. So what I might do is grab my lasso tool, and we might just do this bit here where it's in the shade, and we'll do Shift F6 to bring up the feather selection and feather it 100 and bring up and we might just bring up that area. You don't want to do it too much because you don't want to blow out the whites again, but that works a bit better. I also think that this and this is a little bit too light, so whoops, I haven't got my tablet, so I'm using a mouse, which is always kind of interesting. So we'll do Shift F6 again for the feather selection, and we'll do, no, that's not what I want, it's Control Z. I want this. Curves. I know you can use levels, but I don't know, I always prefer that's not too bad. And because it's like a landscape image and what it is, I'm not going to do that much to this image. I mean, there's just no point. So I'm just going to start a new layer, and I think what we'll do is use the gradient tool. I've got it set at 47%. You could probably increase it, decrease it, whatever you want. And oh, that's not what I wanted. I was using that colour before, so let's just set this back to how it should be because I want black. That was a bit too much. I don't mind it coming over the bottom of the image. Let's see what happens if we do it over the top. Yeah. We turn that layer on and off. Yeah. So I kind of use the gradient tool as a way to sort of get you to look where I want you to go. So it sort of helps pinpoint the area that you should be looking at, which in this image is the waterfall and all the water coming off it. And I wouldn't do any more to it than that, so I'm just going to do Control S. I want it on my computer. I hate using the cloud. We're going to save it as a PSD Photoshop file, and we're done, and that's it. Now, if we go back to here, we've got that one. Actually, what we might do is highlight this one as well. And I've got no idea why, but Photoshop puts all your PSD photos at the bottom. And if we just do this, so this is basically what the original would have looked like. That's after Camera Raw, and that's after Photoshop. So if we do that, that's Photoshop, and that's the original. It's a bit funny in places, but I think it's okay. It'll be fine. I did do another image for you, which I did very, very quickly. It wasn't a long exposure, though. It was just one of these ones of the water, which we could do again, too. Let's just have a quick look at these and see if there's one that's quite interesting. Actually, let's do this. Let's try this one. The way the light is catching that waterfall. Okay, so we do the same thing and bring down the highlights a bit. What happens if we bring up the shadows? Not really sure about that. If we make it a black and white image, it's not bad. Bring up the contrast a little. Let's just open it. I'm not sure how much I like this image. This here concerns me a bit because it's it kind of just, you don't want like just black, and while it's not just black, it is also not great. Let's just see if we can do something to this spot. Shift F6, you should always feather your selections. Let's try using levels. If we bring the blacks back. That's not bad actually. If we turn that on and off, yeah, that looks heaps better. What do you think? That's without doing that, and that's what I've got now. So it's just put a little bit of detail in there without kind of making it look a bit silly. The only thing that concerns me, and maybe not. Okay, so we also might bring the curve, and we might just try bringing up all the white without sort of trying to blow it out. And one last thing I might do with this is add a tone. So I want my paint bucket tool. I've just added a new empty layer, transparent, so I need to pick a colour. So I've just clicked on that. I come up here. Do we want sort of a sepia tone? Oh, okay. So there you go. I always forget about this because we've already made this a black and white image. No colour's going to work. So what we need to do is go up to the image, to mode. We need to go down to RGB. Don't merge, don't rasterize. It's weird that. Okay, so now we can add our colour. Soft light. It's like you just want it to be subtle. So if you turn it off and you turn it back on, it's like you can tell when you do that, but you might not notice otherwise. The other thing we could do is I've got the hiccups or something, is instead of doing that, we could try a blue. Soft light. Turn it down. Down, down, down. Go to 0. Okay, you can just starting to see it there. So, I don't know, do I like the blue or do I like both of them? Oh, I think I like both of them. Yeah, let's leave it like that. So we're just going to save that. And that'll do. Okay, so there's just a couple of quick things from my trip away. I guess you should be thankful that I did screw up the first go through because it was a lot longer than this. I've done this a lot faster. Really, it's just all about playing with your images. You never know. Oh, actually, there is something I forgot to do. Let's just put this back. Come on. Add a layer. Let's do my favourite thing because I just realised I don't really like that up there. And we might just, we could just make this a bit heavier. Okay. I think that works quite well. Turn it off. Yes. I like that. So we'll just save that again. And I don't know what, this is another thing Photoshop started doing. You go to save it and it won't save it. So you have to like save it all over again. And then I just don't. There's a lot of things that have been happening in Photoshop that just do not make sense. Okay, so I hope you found that all very interesting. I hope you like this style of video, and maybe next time I can do more like this if you want. I'd like, you know, I don't know if you're interested in seeing where I go and what I do and, you know, that sort of thing. Let me know. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not a subscriber. And I guess I'll see you next week with another video. I'll talk to you then. Bye. Or actually, I'll probably talk to you on the blog. Anyway, we'll talk soon. Bye.